see what I can find. Okay, I'm just trying to find you all on my iPad. Morning to you, Marion. Here we go, found you all. Lovely. Okay, so good morning everyone, happy Saturday. Welcome to my Snail Mail mini class. Each month I offer two types of classes. I offer a mini class and a monthly product class. The mini class is designed to give you a little bit of a taster of a suite of products. I provide everything you need. The only thing I don't include is stamped sentiments. We've all got stamps that we can use for that. This class I've used the Snail Mail suite, which is super popular and so cute. I really enjoyed putting the cards together. So each class makes four cards. And like I said, you get everything you need, including the envelopes to put it together. And I walk you through the card designs live here. If you don't have access to Facebook and you're watching on replay, then I always make sure that gets sent out after the class. So I will make a start. I'll switch my camera around and we will make a start. And I hope you're sitting comfortably. So bear with me, guys. Okay. So the kits that people have received looks like this. This is my own little kit. So you get a little bag of die cut pieces. You get some of the DSP from within the suite, and the snail mail is really bright. Lots of fun patterns, and of course you've got those cute little snails that are upside down. Okay. You also get a set of cardstock in coordinating colours. So here we've got Bermuda Bay, Blushing Bride, Basic Grey, Thick Whisper White and Regular Whisper White, or Basic White as it's now known. Okay, and then you also receive an email with a full list of measurements. So you really do get everything you need to put these cards together. And then of course you get to spend a little bit of time with me on a Saturday morning if you're watching live. The 4 card designs that I've made look like this. So we've got a little bit of layering, and I've used those images from the DSP, and they look like this. We have another design. I really like the way that we can add these strips and just bring in all of those elements of those colours. We have another one, and it gets kind of more detailed as the cards go on. So I start simple and then I work in extra pieces from the suite. Okay, and then of course there's detail both sides, and then here we have a really detailed card, and I think this is so cute. So we've got a little envelope like so, and then inside. Now with this one here, there really is no stamping required because I've used sentiments that are actually showing on the DSP. So we will make a start, and we'll make this pink card first. So for this pink card, you're going to need your Blushing Bride cardstock, which is the pink. You're going to need some of the regular basic white, and the DSP I've used is a white background with a multicoloured stitch design running through it. Okay, so you'll need your trimmer. Just put that to one side, and to start we're going to cut our Blushing Bride card, and this is a tent fold card, meaning that it stands like a tent. So for that you're going to turn your cardstock on its long edge, line it up at 14.9 centimetres, and you're going to score. Okay, turn that around, and you're going to line it up at 10.5 centimetres and cut. Okay, so usually this means that you would have 2 card bases, but I'm actually going to use a piece of that Blushing Bride card to layer up my design. Okay, so for the Blushing Bride piece I need is 7.5 centimetres by 10.5. So the great thing is we already know that measurement is 10.5. So I'm going to line it up at 7.5 centimetres and cut. Perfect. And then for the inside we need one that is 9 by 13.4. So I'm going to cut that 13.4 measurement first, turn it round and cut it at 9. Okay. So that is our Blushing Bride cardstock cut. We now need to cut some basic white cardstock. So one piece needs to be 7 by 10 and the other one needs to be 8.5 by 12.9. So I'm quite simply going to cut a strip that is 10 centimetres wide, and I'm cutting that with the short edge at the top of my trimmer. So 10 centimetres. I'm going to turn that round and I'm going to line that up at 7 centimetres. That then becomes our piece like so. And then the piece for the inside, we need one that is 8.5 by 12.9. So I'm going to line that up at 12.9 centimetres, turn and cut at 8.5. And then that piece there is our piece for inside our card. So some simple layering there. And then our DSP we need to cut for the front. So be mindful of the direction that your stripes are going in. So the Snail Mail DSP needs to measure 10 by 14.4. So I want my stripes to go horizontal. So I'm going to cut my 14.4 measurement first, and I'm going to cut that so that the long edge of my DSP is at the top of my trimmer. So then you get a good sized piece left over. Turn it round and cut down to 10. Lovely. So now we can put this card together, and I'm just going to use some liquid glue for this. So I'm layering on my piece of DSP. Okay. And then these two pieces, I'm going to layer them together. Like so. And I'm going to attach that to my card front with some dimensionals. Morning to you, Louise. I'm very well, thank you. Had a nice, good night's sleep. And it's been a rather nice morning here. Okay, so this is going to go in the centre, like so. And then what I've done is I've already pre-cut some of these images from our DSP. So these are the little toadstools, and it's up to you which ones you use. I have used on the front the large pink and red one, the small blue one, and then the small stripy one. So all I'm going to do is layer these onto my card, and I'm going to pop these on with dimensionals again. Okay, so starting with my main toadstool, and then these ones here, I'm just going to cut a little bit of this down here. It's always good to use all of the pieces on your dimensional sheet. So that one's going to overlap like so, and this one is going to overlap just there. Okay, just going to cut that down a little bit more. You could by all means use the mini ones. I'm happy to use these pieces. They are really easy to use, Louise. Yes, dimensionals, they are fab, aren't they? Okay. So that's our little 3 toadstools added on. And then I said there was no stamping in this one. So for my sentiment, I've used just a simple hello. If you wanted to turn it into a birthday card or a thank you card or any other occasion, you could by all means do that with your stamping. But I wanted to just show you that I've used just that DSP. So I've cut that down into a little banner, and then I'm adding that on like so. Okay, now I've got one little piece left that I've already cut, so I'm going to layer together these two pieces and pop them in my card. I like to add layers inside the card because it just makes sure that the card is equally weighted, especially with these tent fold cards. You want to make sure that the weight is equal on the front and inside so that it stands up nicely. If you don't do that, then the lighter piece will kind of splay out and just ruin the look of it. And then we've got our little toadstool to add, like so. Okay, so that is our first card in our little pack. Nice and simple layering, not too complicated to get us started. So I'll pop that over to one side. Now, our next card looks like this. So some more detail. You're going to need, from your little packet of pieces, you're going to need one of the lovely stitched label dies, okay, that looks like this. So this comes from the Snail dies, which is part of the collection, and it's a really nice postage stamp style die. It's got the lovely fluted edge, and then you've got that really delicate stitching inside. Okay, and then for our layers, let me bring in what we need. I'm just going to bring my trimmer in. Got my instructions in front of me. I don't do it all by memory. So then we're going to need some of our DSP. So this is the piece that we cut off, this piece here, when we were trimming it down. So we're going to use that piece. So that piece needs to measure, we need to cut 3 equal strips that are 3 centimetres by 14.4. So we'll just make sure, yep, that's 14.4. And then we're going to cut this piece down to 3 centimetres. Now 3 centimetres is quite tricky to hold in place in our trimmer. So all I do when my piece is quite narrow is just line it up where I need it to be, and then just hold it in place with a little bit of washi tape. Okay? And then cut. Clever, hey? And then just lightly peel off that washi. So that's one piece. The next piece I have used is our red. It's our red background with our pink hearts. Now you would have cut your toadstools from this piece, so I'm going to cut that down. I'm going to do exactly the same, line it up at 3 centimetres, pop my washi tape back on, and cut. Okay. Peel off my washi. And then turn that round, line it up at 14.4 centimetres and cut. That way we know our hearts are all in the same direction and we don't use too much of that DSP either. And then the last one we need is this pretty little sheet like this, and I am going to line that up at 3 centimetres again. Hold it down with my washi. Give it a little turn to 14.4. And cut. Okay. Now for the centre of my card, I need 2 pieces, and I've used that lovely stitching design again. So this is the piece we had left over, which we just need to trim down, and that needs to measure 10 centimetres wide. Be mindful of the direction of your stripes. Turn it and line it up at 14.4 and cut. Okay. And then we shall need a piece of basic white. So bring that back in. That's this piece here. And that needs to measure 8 by 12. So let's have a little look. So let's turn it and cut the long measurement first. So 12 centimetres. Turn it back the other way. Line it up at 8 and cut. Now, we need to cut our card base as well. For the card base, I have used thick basic white cardstock. Just trying to get that out of my little packet. So for this card base, again, it's a tent fold card. So I've got it on its long edge, lining up at 14.9 centimetres and scoring. Turning it round, so we've got that short edge at the top, lining up at 10.5 and cutting. If you wanted to have a book fold card, all you need to do is reverse those measurements. Okay, so we're going to fold that in half, give that a little push, and then we can start layering our pieces on. So let's just lay on our strips that we have here, like so. So then what we're going to do is just pop those onto our card. And you want to make sure you've got a good border around the 3 edges of your strip. So at the top, down the side and in the middle. Okay. Now I'm going to pop this one on next, doing the same, so making sure I've got a good border around that edge. And then my centre one just gets put in the middle. Okay. And don't these colours go really, really well together? I think they look fab. To just make sure that middle 2 sections are even. Okay, we've now got our piece of our die cut piece. And I've already I've gone ahead and pre-cut some of these already. So I have a little snail that was on the edge of my DSP that I'm just going to line up with that piece of stitching and stick down. And this is a great way to use up those designs that are on the edge of your DSP, so then getting as little waste as possible. Add on our little guy, and then our sentiment. It's one of the speech bubbles that I've just cut out in advance, that we're going to just stick down. Oops. Like so. So our little snails are talking to each other. And then now I'm going to stick this down with a couple of dimensionals as well. Okay. And then that is just going to go in the centre of those stripes in the top section. Okay. So let me know what you think of that one. For the inside, we're going to do a little bit of layering. So I've just chosen one of those pieces of DSP from that strip on those strips on the front. And I am adding that in, and then our piece of white again can be layered in the centre. And then because those snails are just too cute to leave on that DSP, I've cut another one and I'm just going to stick her in there. And I've chosen to use the one that I've only used half of on the front. Okay. So there we have card number 2 all finished. I hope you like that one. We're doing well, aren't we? So for card number 3, there's a little bit more going on with card number 3. So let's just move my instructions around so I've got the right one. So for this, we've got a base of Bermuda Bay cardstock. And so let's cut that card. Now this again is a 10th fold card. So for that, I'm going to pop it in my trimmer so that the long edge is at the top. Line up at 14.9 centimetres and score. Give it a turn so the short edge is at the top. Line it up at 10.5 centimetres and cut. So we get 2 card bases out of this one, and we only need 1. Okay. For our DSP, I'm going to use the other side of this sheet. So it's a white background with pink, blue and red kind of postage label outlines. So for this, we need a piece for outside and a piece for the inside. So the easiest way to cut this is line it up in your trimmer with a short edge at the top at 10 centimetres and cut, leaving us with this little strip that we don't need. Turn it round, line it up at 14.4 centimetres and cut, and then 14.4 again, and cut. Okay, so those are our 2 pieces of DSP we need. Now I've added in a little bit of background of that red and pink hearts. So this piece needs to measure 7 centimetres by 9 centimetres. So I'm going to cut a little strip that is 9 centimetres long. Turn, line it up at 7 and cut. Okay, so that's our piece like so. And then we need another strip of this piece, which I have that piece left and I have this piece left. So I'm going to cut it down from here, and that needs to measure 3 centimetres by 12 centimetres. Okay. If you don't have enough of that left, just choose another piece. Okay. Then from our little packet, we need the Bermuda Bay die that looks like that. And then we're going to cut a piece of white card that just sits inside that. So your basic white card, you should have some scraps left over. You're going to cut that down to 4.8 by 5.2. So 4.8 by 5.2. Okay, so it's only very small, but that fits inside that little shape really neatly. Then all we need left to cut is a piece for the inside, so a piece of white, and that is going to measure 9.5 by 13.9. So 9.5 by 13.9. Okay, so that is all our pieces cut, so we can now start to assemble. So pop all those to one side, fold your card base, give it a good burnish with your bone folder so that it stands up nicely. Just going to have a little bit of tea. Just reading back on the comments, Louisa's put, I think I need to invest in a Stampin' Up trimmer so I can do the scoring as well as I have a Fiskars one and you can't get the score blades. Oh, that must be frustrating, Louise. I wholeheartedly recommend the Stampin' Up trimmer. I've had mine since I first joined back in 2013. They've changed the design ever so slightly and it is a better design, but I love it, I really do. I love the fact it's got the scorer, it's lightweight, it's easy to use, and it's great. I love it. When I was doing my classes in person, it's really easy to travel with as well, and it fits nicely in the tote bag. So I definitely recommend you making that investment, Louise. So let's put our card together. We're going to pop this piece on the front. So, and then our second piece is going inside like so. Okay, and then our DSP pieces, we're going to just pop these on the front, and this is all done by eye, and that's how most layering is kind of achieved. Just layer on your pieces as you think they look good. It's all about trusting your own creativity. Okay, and then that piece is just going to be layered on over the top so you can see that either side. Okay, so then we can take our piece of white, layer that into the center of your die like so, and this is going to be stuck on with some dimensionals just to raise, and then that is going to overlap like so. Lovely. And then I've got some pieces that I have already gone ahead and cut out. So I have this little guy here, he's our little postage guy. Really, really fun, I think these snails are. And then that's going to go just down there like so. And then of course we have another one of those speech bubbles cut from that DSP. So these are perfect note cards for any occasion. Great. So then we've got our piece of basic white that we can stick in the centre. You've just got a little border of that DSP showing inside. And then we have our cute little snail. Again, that one's been cut off the edge of that DSP just to eliminate the amount of waste that we have. And I'm just lining her up with the edge of that DSP and adding her in. I'm calling her a girl because she's got eyelashes. I know that's incredibly sexist, but that's how my little girl says, this is how we draw girls and this is how we draw boys. So there we have finished card design number 3. So just adding in more and more detail as we go along. And then our final card, which has got a lot going on, that is really fun, looks like this. Okay. So I really wanted to use a lot of those the pieces from the dies, the snail dies. And I think I've used every single die on this card. So for this we need the other one of our white card bases, like so. And then we're going to use this lovely basic grey, which I think is a great alternative to black. Some people say black is quite stark, they don't really want that much boldness, where grey is a great alternative for that. It's just a little bit more subtle. Okay, so our pieces we need to cut are, we need basic grey cardstock measuring 9.5 by 13.9, and you need one for the outside and one for the inside. So the easiest way to cut that is to line it up at 9.5 with the short edge at the top and cut all the way to the bottom. Okay. Turn it round, line it up at 13.9 and cut. And do that with that second piece as well. Now that will mean from the other piece of your basic grey, you can get another card base from that. So you can go ahead and carry on creating with these papers. So we need those two. We need a piece of basic white that measures 9 by 13.4, and we need 2 of those. So again, the easiest way to cut that is line the short edge up at the top at 9 centimetres, cut your whole strip, give it a turn, line it up at 13.4 and cut. Like so. So we've got one piece and we've got 2 pieces. Now we want to cut some more of that DSP. So we're going to use this red background with the pink hearts, which is my favourite, I think. And this piece needs to measure 7.5. No, it doesn't. Oh yes, it does. 7.5 centimetres by 8.5. So let's do the 8.5 first. By 7.5. It's almost a square. And then the other piece we need is on the back of this sheet, which, can you bear to cut those little snails? I couldn't use too much of it, but I had to use a bit. 7.5 by 9, so let's cut 9 centimetres and then 9. So that piece is just a little bit bigger. Okay. So now let's start putting this together. In the end, I did buy the layering circles and squares. I thought, like you said, they're good to have in the stash. They are. I love mine. And if you like using them, Louise, you'll love the Berry Blessings class because I've used them in it. Well, the layering circles I have. Not so much the layering squares, but yes, I do love them. Okay, so let's layer on our basic grey and our basic white. I do come back with such good classes. Thank you, Louise, that's really kind. I thoroughly enjoy putting them together for everyone. Now that piece is a bit too big, isn't it? So what have I done there? I haven't cut it down, that's why. Silly me. 7.5 by 9. There you are. I make mistakes too. That's better. So the Bermuda Bay is going on first. Like so. I'm putting that on at just a little bit of an angle. and then our Bermuda Bay is going on over the top. It's entirely up to you how you layer this. And that's also going at a bit of an angle. Now you're going to need everything else that is in your little packet. Just going to move those pieces out of the way. And this is where the dies really come to life. Here we go. Right, so we have another one of those lovely postage stamp style dies, and I've cut that from the DSP. So I'm going to add that to my card with a couple of dimensionals. Oh, I love those papers as well. They're gorgeous, aren't they? I really enjoyed using them. So this I'm going to put on straight, or as straight as I can possibly get it, like so. Now the next thing we're going to do, this die here, this makes a little envelope. So fold your edges in and just burnish those edges so that it folds quite nicely. Okay, and then to put this together, the easiest thing to use is a glue dot. I'm just going to take the glue dot off onto my tool, and I'm going to fold up the bottom and pop my glue dot just in the centre there. Fold one piece in, pop another glue dot down and fold the other piece in. So there is our little envelope. In your dies you also have a little red heart. That little red heart is going to go just in the centre there because it will hide any little pieces of your glue dots that are showing. And who doesn't love a red heart? Okay. So there we have that. Within the die set you also get this little rectangle that's stitched. You can either use it to add your sentiment, or what I've done is I've used it to create a little letter. So here I've just cut one of the speech bubbles from the DSP and I'm just going to trim around the heart. And then this is going to get stuck down there. I feel like I'm making a little letter for a snail. And then that just gets stuck inside, like so. So that's our little letter, which we can add to our card like this. So it's a little bit of interaction. And I think it's really cute. And it's a great way to use up those dies. Little question, does the heart come in the snail mail die set? It most certainly does, yes. You actually get 2 heart dies in the set. So now we've got our layering. So you get these cute little toadstool pieces, which I have actually added in a white background. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the base of this red toadstool off, like so, and I'm going to attach it to this white one so that we get that white bottom showing. And I'm just doing that with little dots of liquid glue in those larger white spaces. Give it a little squeeze. And then you'll also notice my toadstool has got a white background. So all I'm doing is I'm now going to add that toadstool to a piece of white card, like so. Put a little bit of glue on my finger and I'm going to cut around that. So not only does it give your piece a little bit more depth, but also, to me, if I think of a toadstool, I think of a red top with white spots. There we have our little toadstool, okay, which I'm going to pop on just like so. That's going to go about there. Now for our other toadstools, I've got two yellow ones in my little pack. I'm just going to pop out those pieces. Now this is where the heart die comes in really useful. So you can see in the background of mine, it's white as well. So now I'm going to use that little heart die. I'm just going to add a little bit of glue at the top and at the bottom. And I'm turning this heart die upside down and laying it on. That then gives you a lovely white background to your toadstool and not a lot of fussy cutting. I'm going to do that with both of them. Now with this one, I'm going to cut the top of my toadstool off. I'm going to add my white heart to the front of this, like so. And then I'm going to add that yellow piece, which is where has it gone? It's over here. Oops. More fingers and thumbs now. This is when I wish I had dainty hands. I'm going to lay on this piece. Like so. So there we have a yellow toadstool and a yellow toadstool with a white base, using those heart dies to layer together. Now I have my little snail. I'm going to put my snail on next because I want to lay those toadstools around it, okay? But before I do that, I need to add my ribbon in, which actually, with this card, I've laid the ribbon around, but I'm going to put my ribbon on last and add it with a glue dot. I missed that bit, sorry guys, but you'll get the same effect in a second. So my little snail is going on with a dimensional. And he's going on about there. And then my little toadstools can layer around. So I'm going to put this little one down here. Like so. And then I'm going to put this one behind at the top. Like so. And then for my ribbon, you've got some pink twine. Just going to cut some of that off. And this is also part of the suite. You get a combination of white and pink. And I'm going to fold that in half. And I'm going to tie my little bow. Cut off your tails so that they're equal. And then I'm going to add that with a little glue dot, which are here. Just to bring that little bit of thread in. And then to finish, we've just got our sentiment. So the sentiment again has been cut from our speech bubbles. So I'm just going to trim that down. It just says hello. And then that is going to go just down here. Okay, and then all that's left to do is to add in our layers for inside. And I've actually left the layers inside really plain because there is so much going on the outside of that card. Okay. And that is our finished card number 4, which brings the card class to a close. So that is our card number 4. We've got card number 1, card number 2 and card number 3. I'd love to know which one is your favourite, especially those of you that are crafting along. If you're watching this replay back, I'd love you to send me pictures of your cards, so please do share those with me. It's always nice to see my designs come to life by other people. And obviously, if you decided to steer completely away from these designs, I would love to see what you've done with it. It's always great to see other people's creativity. So that is our finished class for February, which I know February's not here, but my next class, I wanted to give you a little bit of preview of my next class. A lot of people say to me, I'd love to join one of your classes, but I want to see what we're making. So I will show you right now what to expect from my March card class. This is a mini class, so booking closes on Monday for this class, and I've used the Ice Cream Corner suite. So this is what you will get. The kit hasn't been completely put together yet because this is just my sample. You will get some rich raspberry cardstock. You will get some terracotta tile cardstock. You will get some white cardstock. And you will also get some of this gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous designer series paper. So it's lovely spring summery like colours with these gorgeous ice cream patterns. So that's one side and this is the other side. So lovely summer patterns, and you will get 6 sheets of the DSP that measure 6 inches by 12 inches. You will get some of these little sprinkles. You won't get a whole pot. I can't, the kit cost would go through the roof if I gave you a full pot. So you'll get a little selection of these ice cream sprinkles, which is part of the suite. You will get some of this gorgeous Blackberry Bliss striped ribbon, which is really pretty. And these are the cards that you will be making, or these are the card designs that I have made to showcase this suite. So we've got some layering there. The sentiments here come from the Sweet Ice Cream stamp set, which there are options to add in the stamp set if you wish, or you could use a sentiment that you've got at home. You've got another design. This, I really like this design. So you're leaving the ribbon there, it's just a little bit of a flip card. This one here, you've got some fussy cut ice creams down the right hand side, and here I've got a really fun layering technique with the DSP, and of course some more of that ice cream. So that is my March card class. If you would like to purchase that card class and take part, I'll pop the link at the top of this page afterwards, or you can visit my website, which is www.staceymarsh.co.uk. Booking closes on Monday. The cost for that class is £7.50 if you are local and can collect from me, or £10 to have posted to you in the UK. And then the format of how to put those cards together will be exactly like this. It will be a Facebook Live video on the first Saturday morning of April. And you'll have all the instructions and the recording emailed to you as well. So do let me know if you'd like to take part in that. And that concludes my Saturday morning crafting with you all. So thank you so much to everyone who has joined me, especially those of you that have crafted along at home with your kits. If you have any questions about any of the products or techniques I've used, or would like to buy one of the kits, please do get in touch. I hope you have a fabulous weekend. The weather is quite sunny here but very chilly, but it's nice to hear the birds singing. So I'm off now to do a little bit more crafting, and I hope you have a great weekend. So thanks so much for joining me. Take care. Bye for now.